Good morning everyone, the sun is shining again and welcome back to Lynn's Kitchen. This morning I thought I'd make with you some soda bread, good old Irish soda bread. But I was going to give it a couple of twists and show you how versatile soda bread can be. It's so much easier than making a yeast bread because you don't have to wait for the bread to prove. And so you can make it up in maybe half an hour or so, which is fantastic. So let's start. The first thing I have is soda bread flour, and I'll just show you the difference. So that's the soda bread flour. I'm sure many of you have used it maybe to make wheaten bread or maybe use it for making scones. So all you need is some soda bread flour. I've got 500 grams and I'm going to put it into a nice big bowl. Then I'm going to add just 1 tablespoon of soft margarine. And I'm going to get my hands in and I'm just going to rub it together into the flour and rub it till it becomes breadcrumbs and you can't see the margarine in it anymore. So lift it up a little bit to get some air into the mixture as well. And you just need to rub that all in. That's why it's nice to have a big bowl so that you can have plenty of space to move the flour around and rub the fat into the flour. Now I'm going to make a plain loaf and then I'm going to do a flavoured one just to show you how you can ring the changes. So there we are, nearly all done. I'm just rubbing it across my fingertips and you can see it's lovely and light and fluffy. And all the raising agent is already in the flour, so you don't need to add anything else to it. So then to this, I'm just going to wash my hands here to clean them up a wee bit. To this then we're just going to stir in some buttermilk. Now I have a pint of buttermilk. I'll not need all this at all. And what I'd say to you is you'll have to work with it and just get a feel for it yourself as to how much you're going to need. So if you make a wee well into the centre of the flour and just pour a little bit of your milk into the middle of it, and then start to bring the flour into the buttermilk and mix it together, and you can see, just tip this down a wee bit further so you can see, hopefully we get it tipped a wee bit further. You can see it starts to come together, but it needs plenty more, so let's add a wee bit more and go around the outside, the edges, and then keep bringing it together. And you want a soft-ish dough. You don't want it too dry, otherwise the texture will be too firm. So keep bringing it together, and you can see it's coming together into clumps now, but you can see it's quite dry around the outside still. So just add another little bit around the outside. So I'm reckoning you need about half a pint of buttermilk for 500 grams of the flour. And once it's formed quite a good, see the way it's come together as a dough, just put your hands into it and feel, is it nice and soft? So it's got a nice soft, slightly sticky, and that's what we want to work with. You don't want it too dry, as I say, otherwise the texture will be too firm. So then we're going to just turn it out onto a floured work surface. So I'll turn it out, there we go. Put the bowl to one side. And then we want to knead the dough. And let me just tip the camera a wee bit more again, just so that you can actually see me working at the dough, just so you know how it comes together. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. Right, so flour your hands so that it won't stick to the dough won't stick to your hands, and just knead the dough together. And you're bringing it all together, all the little bits, into one nice dough. Work it away, not too hard, you don't want to push all the air out of it again, but there you go, lovely nice dough. So, and there's a nice round bannock dough bread that we can make. Now you have options with even with the plain soda bread. So you can roll it, and with a round cutter you can cut out individual soda breads, which would be gorgeous for a breakfast. Or you can keep it like this, and I would just cut it across to give you your traditional soda bread kind of, not design, but you know, the way they cut it across the top. Or you can actually just put the whole mixture into a loaf tin and bake it in a loaf tin if you don't want to form it into a bannock. But I like the traditional bannock, so I'm going to do my first one as a bannock. So we're just going to put it onto a floured baking tray, and that goes into a hot oven. So the oven has been at 170 degrees for until it's nice and warm, and I'm just going to put that in, and that will cook for about 15, maybe about 30, well, between 15 and 30 minutes, just till it's nicely cooked through and golden brown on the outside, and we'll have a look at that later. So the other option then is to flavour up your soda breads, and you can, the world's your oyster. You can add, I love cheese in mine, but I also love to add things like red onion chutney or sun-dried tomatoes, or you can add roasted peppers, herbs, garlic, all sorts of things, and you can and olives and those sort of things are gorgeous in it. So you can flavour it up whatever way you like. So let's do one of those. So we've got 500 grams of flour again, and to that I'm going to add my spoon of margarine. And I have some cheddar grated, and I'm going to add that. I'm also going to add some very finely chopped red onions and a little bit of mixed herb. And then I'm going to show you a little trick if you don't have any buttermilk in the house, how you can make some buttermilk. So again, I'm just folding it all in. And you add your ingredients to the flour before you add the milk, so it all gets mixed in nicely. So I'm going to add some grated cheddar and some very finely chopped red onion and a good sprinkle. I'm always baking at the same time, haven't I? I've got other things in the oven as well. And a good sprinkle of mixed herbs, maybe a bit more actually. There we are. I'm just coat them all in the flour as well. Smells good. Wash my hands again. And downside of going in. Now, to make your own buttermilk. So I have enough buttermilk that I could use, but if you don't have any, you want to add 250 mils of milk, just whole milk, to a jug. Just make sure we're adding just a wee bit more. And then if you just add a cupful, now I have just got white wine vinegar, malt vinegar, whichever vinegars you would have, not balsamic because it'll colour it, but just a clear vinegar. And I'm just adding a cupful of vinegar to that milk, and let that sit for a little minute or two. And if you just whisk that round and let it sit for a minute or two, that will actually cause the milk to form like a buttermilk consistency. It'll actually sort of almost curdles it. Maybe just add a little bit more, just a little bit more, just till you see it, just till you see the milk starting to curdle. There we go. And we'll use that to bring it together. Another knife. Let's bring that together. So again, start in the middle of your mixture, start it round until it comes together, and just keep adding. And all around the edge. Half a pint, 250 mils or so, should bring your mixture nicely together. Now, I'll just show you that I think this is just a little bit firm. If you feel it in your hand, it's just a bit dry and a bit firm. So there's a bit more ingredient in this one, so I'm just going to add a little bit more milk to that. And it's coming together nicely as a dough now, so I'm going to once again turn it out onto the work surface, which is still quite nicely floured. So let's just put a wee bit more on there. Turn the mixture out. Flour your hands. Now you can make this into like little bread rolls, so you can divide the mixture up. So I could do that with this. So just give it a good knead till you bring all the ingredients together. And then you could flatten it out a little bit. I just have a pizza cutter. Flatten out your dough a little bit and cut it into 8. Handy with a pizza cutter, but you can do it with any cutter you like. And then just bring those little bits of dough together into sort of a round. There you are. That's one. And this is all obviously would be delicious with soup for lunch, or just served, you know, on the side of a salad would be lovely too. And I think everybody getting a nice roll just to themselves is lovely. So let's just bring those all together. So we can get 8. I mean, you can make them a little bit smaller if you want, because they will puff up. And then again, bake them in the oven. Now these will take about 15 minutes or so. The bannock will probably take a bit longer, I think, probably. I'm thinking just as I'm making these, maybe nearer 30 minutes for the big bannock, and these will take 15 to 20 or so. Now you could, if you wanted to, brush them with a little bit of buttermilk on the top and sprinkle some more cheese on it. But I think there's probably enough cheese in there anyway. And I don't like them to look too glossy. You know, soda bread doesn't need to look like a scone. That's quite a big one, but anyway, somebody can get the lion's share. So let's just finish that one up. So we've got now 8 nice little individual soda breads. And I'm going to put them into the oven now once that bannock comes out, and I'll come back to you and show you what they all look like once they've been baked. We'll see you shortly. Okay, so the bread, soda bread rolls have come out of the oven. They took about 25 minutes actually, because they were quite big to cook right through, and they've got a lovely golden crust on the top. And what I decided to do, just for a lunch idea, was to split one of them in half and to butter it, to lay a little bit of ham on the top, and then a nice poached egg, and that'll be a delicious lunch with a little bit of chutney. So now let's see how the large bannock of soda bread is getting on, and I'm just going to get it out of the oven. Doesn't that look absolutely amazing? Now that's been in the oven for about 35 minutes or so, and as you can see, it's golden on top, and it has, if you tap it, it has a hollow sound. Can you hear it? So that is what you're looking for. You can also use a skewer and put it in and just check that it comes out clean and there's no wet dough in the centre. The other thing to do is just to loosen it from the base and give it a tap, and if it sounds nice and crusty and crunchy, that's it cooked through. So I'm going to leave that to cool. That'll be gorgeous. You can actually cut that in half if you don't think you could eat this all at once. Cut it in half and freeze half of it. These all freeze perfectly well. And then you can use half and bring the other half out later on when you need it. Gorgeous with soup, lovely fried with your breakfast, or toasted with marmalade. So a really easy bread that can be made in, well, it was a wee bit more than half an hour, but say 3/4 of an hour, which is a lot quicker than yeast bread, and really delicious. And you can really work away with the flavours, adding cheese, or in this case cheese and red onion, or you can add chutneys and all sorts of things to it too. So really have fun experimenting with this bread. And as usual, I'd love to see your pictures of your creations. Keep in touch and keep on baking.